everything is not fine when it comes to the New England Patriots.
No.
They have suffered their 6th loss in a row.
Right.
I think, I hate saying it because Scheim gets excited, but it seems like two games in, when it comes to Drake Maye, they have found their quarterback for the future. Feel really good about that, Wiggy. I'm sure you do as well.
Yep.
But the rest of it is an S show.
No, they're the get-right team in the NFL.
It's pathetic, and it seems like you pick your word. They're mailing it in. They can't tackle. There are guys that are giving up. I don't know what's going on when it comes to the play caller on offense, the offensive coordinator. The defense is not good. You would think that Gerard Mayo would be, if anything, we're going to be functioning properly on this football team.
They
it would
stink.
It would be the defense. So they are awful.
Yeah, that's why I said they are. Everybody else is. We were going in this game to Jacksonville. We thought Jacksonville was the get-right team, the team that you play to get right. But it looks like the New England Patriots are now everybody's team in the NFL, the get-right game. So if you're like getting ready to play New England, like when do they play the Jets? Is it this weekend?
1 o'clock.
Yes, it is.
Big game.
Yeah.
So
Can't
the
wait.
Jets are probably looking like, all right, this is our get-right team.
How embarrassing, though, because that opening drive, I'm like, oh, all right, they look good, but we can't get too excited because it's against Jacksonville. And then to end the way that they did, it was like everything after that opening drive was so bad. So to say that they're throwing the season or they're unraveling on purpose, you wouldn't have an opening drive like that. Like they showed that they could do it, but then it just went away.
Because the first 15, the first opening drive is scripted, right?
And
so it's a little bit easier.
The defense doesn't know what you're doing, and then the defense figures it out, and you have a head coach, and I'll throw the rest of the staff in there who apparently is unable to adjust.
Van Pelt
it shouldn't be that
stinks.
big of a fall off.
Oh, Alex Van Pelt, he stinks.
There just does not appear to be an awful lot of care that goes into what you do in game when it comes to coaching.
Just my 2 cents. The team sucks, obviously, but I was so wrong at the beginning after week 1. I felt like, wow, this defense looks amazing. I thought the Bengals were better, and I said, well, they're at least playing for the guy. And now I sit here. I don't think they made a mistake in firing Bill. I think they made a mistake in their offseason and building a roster that Gerard Mayo could coach effectively. And the whole thing, from my vantage point, changed when they knew Drake Maye outperformed Jacoby Brissett in training camp, and you have asked Gerard many times. That's the truth. And then they didn't start the season with him.
Yeah, I just, you and I are going to disagree on that. I do think they made a mistake in firing Bill Belichick. I think that Elliot Wolf came in here in February, said we're going to have less of a hard-ass vibe around this place, and then you end up with what you got yesterday, which is post-game guys like Kendrick Bourne talking about other guys who are up all night eating whatever, whatever the issue. You got Jalen Polk and his Instagram post. You got, it's just there is a little bit of discipline that is required in every aspect of life. And it doesn't seem like in this so far, we're only 7 games in, but it doesn't seem like that is Gerard Mayo's forte, is the discipline part of things.
Right, and I kind of agree. He comes across as a nice guy. He as a former player, and he doesn't really, maybe like you said, walk the line of discipline. I think their biggest regret, and if they could go back now and change it, I think their biggest regret was not starting Drake Maye in week 1, because I think if you start Drake Maye in week 1 and you win a few games, which it looks like he would have been able to do, now when you wouldn't be at this point in the season where guys are kind of checking out because the record is so bad. You'd have a team that might have been sitting there at 3-3 going into Jacksonville, completely different mindset than a team that's going into Jacksonville at 1-5.
And a lot of people in the broadcast yesterday, right on your side, Wiggy, when they were saying, I believe if Drake had started this season, you'd be sitting here at 3-3. So
and the mindset would completely change, right?
Yeah.
So if you, as a player, if I'm sitting on a team and we're 3-3, we're right in the mix, my mindset is different versus if we're 1-5, we're playing in London, we're like, what are we playing for? And then if you get behind a little bit or you're not playing as well, you tend to go, all right, now you start to see what Antonio Pierce said with the Raiders is you start to make business decisions for yourself as a player.
Well, they've been making business decisions, though, at least when it comes to tackling. I'll take one small part of it. That they've been making, quote, business decisions for many weeks. They were this team was poor when it came to tackling almost from the get-go.
Right.
Yes, we are here to argue those points, and we can argue them all day long. I just don't know when is the time right to ask whether Robert Kraft, when he identified Gerard Mayo as the guy to be the head coach of this football team 5 years ago, when he had virtually no coaching experience whatsoever, when is it the right time to ask whether he made the right decision?
Not today. I mean, obviously today, but he won't be making that question today. But I would just say, Wiggy, you were here. You were on the team when Bill started 5-13 with the Patriots. Were people saying, "Woo!" But he's instilling a lot of values here that work. No, he was getting ripped up and down. I was with his kids at Foxborough Stadium. We had to go back to the suite because they were being so vulgar about how bad Bill was as a coach.
Right.
This roster sucks. I don't know why Robert Kraft empowered Groh and Wolf. Tyquan Thornton, you know who he reminds me of? Jalen Polk, second-round receivers you can't catch. And it's like this. I don't understand it. And to me, it's just because they're cheap.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you do that.
Yeah.
And that's the reason the staff is the way it is, because there's a lot of guys that were still under contract. I believe that Gerard Mayo's coaching staff next year will be far different than the one this year. But then it's like, why are we wasting all these years?
Yeah, the whole Jalen Polk thing, it's hard because your expectations of him as a player, he was good at Washington, and then he gets here, and I've seen it a million.
Well, he has the best hands in the NFL.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the best feet.
No.
He does have the best hands in the NFL.
Great social media game.
Yeah, well, I would say that I would.
Bad post.
Oh my God.
I would disagree with him. But the Jalen Polk situation is, and I've seen this before. Some guys, and I'm not saying he's at this point yet, but some guys are just not good enough to play in the NFL, and he might be one. Maybe mentally, he's at that point where he can't get over this hump of not being able to catch the ball because he starts to hear everything.
He said it wasn't a mental thing. He said I'm great mentally.
Right.
I have the best hands in the NFL. It doesn't look like it. What do you have, 3 drops yesterday?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's so bad. I have not had this burning rage for a Boston athlete like I do for him in a very long time. He's just so, everything about him is cringe.